Welcome on today's conversation on the future of work, where AI isn't just a buzzword, but a business driver. This is Lenovo Work Reborn, live in Orlando. Hello and welcome to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast. We are live here in Orlando. My name is Rita and I'm joined here with my new friend, Paul. Paul,
hi.
How are you doing?
I'm just grand, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Good.
Paul, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do?
Sure. So you mentioned my name already. I'm Paul Robichaux. I'm the Senior Director of Product Management for Keepit, and we do SaaS data protection. So in that role, what that means is I get to talk to customers about what their most important SaaS applications are, and then help them figure out how they're going to protect them against outages, AWS, when they occur. Because that's a fact of life, right? The world we live in has got a lot of moving parts. Some of them are fragile, and we all have to be prepared to deal with that.
Right. We all have to be prepared and, make sure that we have a team that can handle that together.
Absolutely.
Which is a really great transition to what it's like in sports, right? So, making sure that you're prepared and that you have a plan. We have our partnership with FIFA, which is why I bring it up. And we were talking actually off camera a little bit about something interesting about where your venue is as it relates to sports, yeah?
Yes. So I was really surprised the first day I showed up for work at our headquarters in Copenhagen, because our office is in a tower that's one of the four corners of the Copenhagen football stadium where FC Copenhagen plays. And so they just got promoted. It's kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
But it is so much fun because you can look out the windows of the office, look down onto the pitch. And on a normal day, the groundskeepers are out groundskeeping, or they're picking up, leftover beer bottles from the match the day before or whatever. And you can see the whole evolution of the stadium go by over time. And then watching the matches there is just electrifying, right? FCK has got a good club. I'm really excited about this upcoming season because, as to your question, they've been putting in the prep work in the off season. They have steadily made the right moves to get the right players in the right positions. They've got the fundamentals. I'm really excited to see what they do in this upcoming season.
Right, and something that's interesting that you mentioned too is as they prep and they grow, they evolve, right? It's almost
Absolutely.
like digital transformation in a way. The things that you do in between, pivotal moments in the business are what prepare you for that growth and that change in your organization.
That's really true. A lot of times people think of digital transformation as being a binary thing that happens. So you go along and then all of a sudden, boom, and now you're transformed. And that's not how it works in sports, and that's not how it works in the data center either. Your digital transformation is always going to be a gradual process where at some point the effects look like a big jump. But the steady work that you put in day after day to make sure that you have security fundamentals, you have identity management, you have hardware resiliency, all those basics are what let you build a platform that lets you turn into a transformed organization.
Right, and easier said than done, of course, right?
Sure. It always is, right?
And I think that brings up a great point. There's also the other side that we talked about behind the scenes of sports, right? But there's also fan engagement, which is the front lines of the heartbeat of the organization, right? And I think for any company, employees are the heartbeat of the organization. So we talk about fan engagement in sports. What does employee engagement mean to you when you think about the future of IT support?
So employee engagement is really tricky, right? Because you're always going to have some percentage of employees who go to work because you pay them. If you stop paying them, they'll stop coming to work. It's just a very transactional kind of thing. And of course, you want to minimize that number, and you want as many people as possible to be enthusiastic. I think there's a lot that you can do to try to build a culture where people are engaged and energized with their coworkers because they like their coworkers and they want to help them be successful. To the extent that you can do that, in the same way that people like to support winning sports teams, right? I grew up in the 80s in Louisiana when the Saints were just terrible. They lost all the time. They never went to the Super Bowl. They were just rotten. And yet, they still had fans who were dedicated and engaged and wanted to see the club succeed. So no matter what state your culture or your business is in, if you can find that core of people and give them what they need to help hang on, they will start to draw support to them, just like a snowball rolling downhill. it's easy to celebrate the wins when you have wins, but being able to celebrate the small things when you're not having a lot of wins is just as important.
It is. It's just as important. And I think you're clearly a leader who is passionate about doing that within your own organization. Absolutely. We interviewed recently over 600 senior IT leaders within this Work Reborn research that we've done about exactly what you're talking about. What are people doing to prepare and to grow and to be ready for the new era of work, bringing new life into the modern workplace? And part of that research, we found something interesting, which is, that evolution and the growth is bringing on a new way of doing business. So on that topic, if you could redesign IT around AI, automation, and sustainability from scratch, what's the first pillar you'd build to support your workforce?
So that's actually a really interesting question. And when we talked about it in the pre-show, I was like, ooh, that's good. So I'm going to answer that in two ways.
Okay.
One way is I'm just going to put on my normal human hat. So I'm a member of the workforce, just like everybody else. The number one thing that I would redesign for, if I could start all over and do it all over, would be search. So many people spend so much time frustrated by not being able to find what they want when they want it, that anything that you can do to improve that situation for people makes a huge difference. That's part of the reason why tools like ChatGPT and Gemini have become so popular, is that instead of wading through a bunch of crap in a regular search engine, you can ask a simple question and you get a straightforward answer. That makes an enormous difference. If I then take off my normal human hat and put on my IT leader hat, I think, okay, search is a manifestation of there's some data out there and I need that data to be in the right place, in front of the right people at the right time. And so much of what we do in IT is built around, okay, I have some data. I need to make sure that it's protected. I need to make sure it's stored in the right place, whether that's the right service, the right application, the right country or region, whatever. It needs to be stored in the right place, and that way when the people who depend on that information need it, I can surface it so that they have access to it. So that covers everything around resilience, around data protection. The stuff that I spend all day working on is trying to make sure that people get the right data that they need to the right people on demand, even if there's an outage or a blizzard or a cut fiber optic cable or a Windows bug or a CrowdStrike or whatever, right? You can fill in the blank. But in all those circumstances, I still want people to be able to get what they need when they need it in the right form.
It seems like you are so educated on this that you maybe have written a book about it or something. I don't know. That's a very great response.
Right. So this one goes out to my fellow authors and editors. But yes, I'm the lead author for a book called Office 365 for IT Pros.
Wow.
Which is about 1,400 pages of Office 365 stuff and junk. We talk about resilience, we talk about security, we talk about dealing with Microsoft licensing, which is really gross and unpleasant. Nobody ever likes it. If you're having trouble sleeping, it'll put you to sleep. But also, if you need to know how to do something, the book will tell you. So yes. You can go to Office365 for ITpros.com and find it. It's even on Amazon.
That's amazing.
I know, what a deal.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
If
Good
you're
questions.
interested in learning more about these topics or, maybe checking out some of the research we did, download the Work Reborn report. It's available in the description below via a link or a QR code on the screen. And make sure you subscribe and follow the Work Reborn podcast. And that's a wrap. Thank you, Paul.
Right on. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us live in Orlando for this amazing episode of Work Reborn. I've been your host, Rita Risha, and it's been a pleasure to bring you insightful conversations from around the world, especially at this event, on how we are bringing new life to the modern workplace. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to stay tuned on more ways that we are doing just that, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe our channel, and download a copy of the Work Reborn report today.
Lenovo.